Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tabletop and Hobby Stop. Today we're going to be taking a break from the gameplay to run down my top 5 list of skirmish war games. After my top 5 list of board games, I had a couple of friends come up to me and say that they'd really like to see a video of my top 5 skirmish games, so we're going to do that today. This is a top 5-ish, so this isn't going to be the games that are my absolute favorite per se. This is more so a list of what gets played in my house the most. So with that being said, we're actually going to start out with a dead game, and this is going to fall a little bit more into the ish category, honorable mentions, because I don't want to start out giving you guys a dead game to try to find. First, we have Spectre Operations. Like I said, this game is currently dead. I know that the Spectre people are working on another game to take its place. They still produce beautiful models. They're getting rid of all of their metal models right now, which is mostly what I have. My favorite thing about it was that it was a really, really brutal and fast game. So as an example of how brutal this game can be, there was a friend I was playing with in an ambush scenario, and I had to basically assault a compound. Well, he didn't set up his people in a very, very strategically sound place because he thought that he had enough of an advantage to overcome that. And within a turn, because of the way things worked out initiative-wise, I had managed to go in and wipe out, I think I took his 8-man crew down to, I think, 1 or 2 people within a turn, just because he was out of cover, he was in the open. This game is supposed to replicate modern military style engagements, and I think it did that very well. And using tactics, I just overwhelming force and violence of action kind of idea, I went through and I completely took him off the board basically in 1 turn. So very fast, very brutal, very unforgiving. Unfortunately, even though this one is on my top 5 list, it's not going to be one that you guys can readily pick up. So to make up for that, we have Perilous Tales. This one is more of a kind of like Majestic 13 as we've been playing. This one's a little bit more of an X-Files-esque, free to download, miniatures agnostic game. So this is from Planet Smasher Games, same guy who made A Billion Suns, which is also on my list, and I believe he may have also made Gaslands, which is not on my list just because I haven't gotten the chance to play it. I've created some cards for it, just never got a chance to play it. So this is a really, really good way to step aside for cost-wise and maybe just try out a little bit more of a rules light. This is a very, very thin book. I actually printed it off and had it spiral bound. A little bit of an honorable mention. Moving right along and sticking within theme is actually going to be Draculas America. So this one I really, really like. The gameplay is really fast and smooth. The way that they organize skill levels is basically the higher skill level, the better dice you get for everything. Any skill roll, anything like that. So it really expedites things. And then you have your special rules for your supernatural aspects of the game. And the thing that I like most about this is actually going to be the story. So most miniature games are sold based on their premise. And this premise is a Weird West premise, but right after the Civil War, as it was coming to a close, Dracula assassinated President Lincoln and declared himself president forever. So you're living in Draculas America. There's vampires, werewolves, occult, and stuff like that. Now this one, though it is no longer publishing new supplements, there is 2 existing supplements that kind of finish out the story. I really, really like how it explores all the different kind of factions that you could think about, from Necromancer to Templars and all of these things, but in the West. So you have your traditional fantasy kind of set up in the Western theme, and I think that it's a really, really cool theme. The miniatures are from North Star, and I actually like them. I'm not always a huge fan of most North Star minis, but I do really like the Weird West minis that they have available for Draculas America. If you're into folklore, if you're into the Wild West, definitely worth a pickup in my opinion. You could actually just play the front of this game as a Western in itself, without any of the supernatural stuff. It totally stands on its own as a really good Western shooter experience. Now to the honorable mentions category. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I actually just picked it up, but I'm going to throw in Dead Man's Hand. I have watched a lot of videos on it, and it does seem like a smooth game itself. This game is I think around $30, but you get all of the tokens and stuff. So if you already have the Western minis, if you already have most everything you need, you can pay the $30, get the tokens, get your poker cards, all of that. It's also a pretty short book. This one is not a Weird West. However, they do have Dead Man's Hand supplements to make it a supernatural thriller. And if I like the gameplay, I may consider picking those up, because I have some Western terrain coming in. I have a little bit already, but I have a whole bunch of Western theme minis, so it might be worth a pickup for me. So speaking of theme, this is actually going to be a game that is sold completely on theme. I'm going to be honest with you, the DC Universe Miniatures game, the miniatures are expensive, overpriced in my opinion, even though they are nice. The game book does look really nice. Everything about the game is very, very pretty. However, from a rules standpoint, from a rules aspect, it's a little bit thin. It's a little bit, it leaves me wanting every time. I have the cards to the game. I have a lot of my characters who their cards were destroyed, and then it's really hard to get replacement cards for these characters. The reason this is on my list is actually because it's my son's favorite. The mechanics are really, really simple. There is a lot of theme to go along with this. Like, you can, if you're Superman, you can literally pick up a building and throw it at people. I have a lot of terrain. It's actually a good reason why I bought most of my city terrain, was because me and my son really enjoy playing this one together. Even though it's not the smoothest game, it's not the best game, it's not the most fulfilling game, I think it's still, if you are a DC fanboy like my son and I think that it is definitely still worth the pickup. Just be ready to spend probably too much money getting your models, and if you don't spend, I think it's like $250 maybe dollars. If you don't spend that much, you're going to have to pay a ridiculous amount in shipping as well. So maybe save up, order in bulk, get the guys you want. They are very pretty minis. They're just very expensive. So this is not a game that I continue to buy minis for if I can help it, unless some lanterns come out. So DC Universe Miniatures game, it's on my list. However, there are better things. But if thematically you like it and you've got a youngster who really likes DC, definitely give it a pickup. Next is, I'm putting Space Station Zero on the honorables mention list for the reason that I feel the ending was a little bit unsatisfying for me personally, and the dice mechanic was a little bit cumbersome. However, this was a very, very fun game to play. I did finish it. I did go through it honestly, and I actually got through it the first go through. I was a science crew, and I got very, very, very lucky with my rolls. I remember, and then I used a little bit of cheese to get through that final boss mission, and then the way it worked out, I could run guys out there, go for the objective, and then like get them back in the next turn before they really got annihilated by the walls. So I managed to go through and win the game on my first playthrough, which from what I'm hearing is not terribly too common. It was a really fun game. The art is absolutely beautiful. I actually picked, you guys saw in one of my previous videos, I did pick up their shirt because I do love the art so much, and it's definitely worth the $20 pickup. If you guys already have some sci-fi minis, if you already have the terrain, pick up the book. It is one of the ones that I would recommend to Basically, anyone who's already a skirmish wargamer. I don't know if I'd recommend this to a brand new person, but I would definitely recommend it to sci-fi fans, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's already a wargamer. It's an interesting, fun, story-driven experience, kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure experience as a tabletop game. All right, now continuing on, it didn't make my board games list because I said it was too much of a tabletop game. But it's definitely making the tabletop game list, even though it's a little bit more towards the board game side. I have a couple of playthrough videos on my channel already for the Firstborn. This I'm going to say either Firstborn or regular Corespace would both make my list. I think that they're wonderful games. I think they're wonderfully designed. The token. All of the iconography really kind of draws back for me sometimes when you're playing a lot of different games. However, it's a very, very, very versatile system, and you can do basically whatever you want with it with minimum changes to the actual system, which I think is a really good positive benefit to a system as open as it is. But because the system's so open, it does end up being a little bit cumbersome when you're looking through all of the iconography and you have all the things that you're trying to read. They did produce cards, which makes it much better. I would definitely advise a pickup. But for those of you who don't know, Corespace is about $110. It comes in a box, self-contained, and it is going to have all the minis, all the dice, all of the terrain, and that's why I say it's borderline a board game, but it definitely comes off feeling like a tabletop miniatures game. This is one I would say is great to get your friends started on tabletop war games. And that's one of the funnest things about Corespace is you can be as competitive or as cooperative as you like. You can actually play the same crew, just say, hey, these are my two guys, those are your two guys. Or if you want two crews working together, say, hey, we're not going to shoot each other. Or maybe you go with that, and then when the person feels comfortable, they say, well, you took my stuff. I actually kind of want to shoot you and take that from you. And then you can let it grow organically. This is one of the most organic feeling tabletop games that I have or that I've played. So Corespace, if I were making a ranking, this would definitely be towards the top, probably one or two of my all-time favorite. All right, so a few of my honorable mentions I'll just breeze through. I have A Billion Suns. This one is an interesting, fun take for spaceship games. It's kind of a small, you have two boards that you're working at the same time, kind of resources allocation. You have to make your choices. That one's a really fun experience if you're actually into spaceship, sci-fi, kind of fleet level battles. And then this is one that, even though I have to be honest, I have not played Last Days. I have watched the playthroughs on Ash's channel probably 1,000,000 times each. I'm pretty sure half the views are from me, just because it seems like such a fun game. But I don't have enough zombie minis, and even though the wife and I are planning a playthrough of this, we just have not had the chance yet. However, I'm going to put it on my list because it is one of my more favored videos to watch. Same with, I think Blood and Plunder is probably my other favorite one to watch from on Tabletop. I'm gonna breeze through a couple of other honorable mentions. Even though it is not officially a skirmish game, they do have a skirmish mode, and I like it so much I do want to put up that Star Wars, if you get the box set, it does come with enough to do a skirmish style game between you and a friend. And the models I think are very cool, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I'm going to throw this one up there but not dwell on it. This one I'm going to give an honorary place on the list, Oak and Iron. I love the game. I think it's really, really cool. I know that there are people who say that there are better ship games, but I think that this one, being so approachable, I really like Firelot games. I really like the way they present their things, and they keep them approachable. This box set, I personally would buy 2 of these if you're really into doing bigger battles, or you can do really small battles using just what's in the core set. And the minis paint up really easy, especially with some contrast paints. And then everything is really contained. Awesome game, really quick to learn. This is one I would bring to a friend who's super into historicals. So if you say, hey, do you want to, they say, hey, I want to try some historical wargaming, maybe they're into pirates. Don't start them off with Blood and Plunder. I would say start them off with Oak and Iron. And then you can move into Blood and Plunder. And you can even have a campaign linking the two, which is even more awesome. All right, to round this list out, you guys know I had to put some Joseph McCullough on there. I'm going to say Stargrave, Frostgrave, and Frostgrave Ghost Archipelago. I'm going to put them all on the same list, just depending on what you really want to do. If you like the pirate fantasy, go with Ghost Archipelago. If you like space sci-fi, go with Stargrave. And then if you really like D&D, definitely pick up Frostgrave. Especially if you have D&D, you probably already have all you need or close to all you need to fill up a Frostgrave warband. Then you can check out my video on how to fill up a Frostgrave table for cheap. I made a video on it. I'll post that up over here. And yeah, it's a really fast, really kind of swingy game. This is not a fair game, but it is a fun game. You're going to get a story each time you play. They have solo supplements. He is constantly releasing content for the game. And you don't need to pick any of that up. If you just want the base game, that is enough to keep you going for quite a while. But I think that the story is really cool. I think the background is really cool for Frostgrave, for Ghost Archipelago, and for Stargrave. There's also Silver Bayonet. I didn't include it because even though I have it, I have not had the chance to play that one either. I also have not bought a warband for it yet. So that one is also on my list. However, I still have not played it. Maybe we could get something rolling up for around Halloween time. I don't know yet. Don't want to promise anything, guys. But that is my top 5-ish list of skirmish war games. If you guys like the video, go ahead and like it, hit subscribe. I hit over 150 subscribers, so that first 100 took quite a while, but I passed the 150 mark pretty darn quick. I'm gonna have to like do a giveaway or something soon if we keep on going this fast. Maybe if I get to 1,000, I'll do a giveaway. Actually, yes, I promise you, if we get to 1,000 subscribers, I will do a giveaway on the channel for something. I don't know what yet, but you guys can go ahead and smack that down below and share if you guys really want to support the channel. That does amazing things, and every time you guys like, every time you comment, it helps out the algorithm and really pushes the videos forward. I do tangibly see that difference. So I appreciate all of you guys getting me over the 150 mark so quickly after hitting the 100 mark, and I will catch you in the next one.